Good morning, good evening, good afternoon from you joining me. Today I'm going to try and go through the Steinslatz Sanhedrin of the Talmud Bavli, beginning in Perik chapter 3, Daf 27, Omid A. So just finishing off from the paragraph of the last Daf, it says, Itmar. It was stated, a corresponding witness who is one who testified that a certain incident occurred at a particular time and place, and then two other witnesses testified that he was elsewhere at that time. The Gemara discussed the disqualification of a conspiring witness from providing testimony in other cases. So we're looking at the disqualification of a conspiring witness. It was stated concerning a conspiring witness, Adim witnesses, Zomim conspiring. And the term conspiring witnesses refers specifically to witnesses who have been demonstrated to have perjured themselves by a second set of witnesses. In general, there are a few ways in which the second set of witnesses can testify in an attempt to invalidate the testimony of a previous pair of witnesses. The first way involves a case where the two witnesses contradict the initial testimony of the first pair by testifying that something did not happen as described by the first pair of witnesses. In this situation, the testimony of neither pair is accepted and the matter remains unresolved. The second way to invalidate the first pair of witnesses is if the second pair testifies that the first two witnesses are not capable of testifying on the matter, claiming that either they are disqualified from being witness or that they are relatives to the party they testified about. In neither of these first two cases, invalidating witnesses are referred to as conspiring witnesses. The third way to invalidate witnesses where the second pair testified that the first two witnesses, those whose testimony condemned the first defendant, were actually elsewhere with the second pair of witnesses when the incident allegedly transpired, and therefore they could not have witnessed the event about which they testified. In such a case, the testimony of the second pair of witnesses is accepted and the testimony of the first pair of witnesses is rejected. The first pair of witnesses is rendered conspiring witnesses and is punished with the penalty they sought to inflict on the defendant through the testimony. See Deuteronomy 19:16-19. If their testimony would have resulted in the defendant's execution, the witnesses are executed. If their testimony would have resulted in a fine, these witnesses are themselves required to compensate the victim the amount their testimony would have caused them to pay. Specifically, these halacha are discussed in great detail in Tractate Makot. Abai Amar. Abai says, the mafreya hu nifsal. He's disqualified retroactively. A conspiring witness is qualified by Torah from providing any type of testimony, even if he was rendered a conspiring witness only in a monetary case. He is qualified directly from the time that he testified, in accordance with the opinion of Abaye. From Sefer Shoftim Hilchot 8, 10 for Shulchan Aruch, Rosh Mishpat 34:8. From when he provided his testimony. Any testimony he may have provided after that point is retroactively nullified. As Rava says, he's disqualified only from that point forward, i.e., from when he was established to be a conspiring witness, but not retroactively when he provided his testimony. So it's only up to the point where he was identified as a conspiring witness, not from the point when the testimony was provided. The Gemara explains the reasons for the two opinions. Abai says that he disqualified retroactively because it is from that time when he testified that he is considered a wicked man. And the Torah stated, do not put your hand with the wicked to be an unrighteous witness. Says 23:1, which is interpreted to mean, do not allow a wicked man to serve as a witness. Rava says that he is disqualified only from that point forward because the disqualification of a witness is a novelty, i.e. is not based on logic. The reason is that this is a case of two witnesses against two other witnesses, in which case testimony of neither should be accepted. What do you see that causes you to rely on the second set of witnesses who testified that the first were not at the scene of the purported event? So they seem to be accepting the second pair of witnesses over the first. Why should they be any more believable, valid than the first? You could instead rely upon the first set of witnesses who testified the event and consequently disbelieve the second set. You assume logically that the first set would be more likely to be telling the truth because they were there. Yet the Torah teaches that the second set of witnesses are always deemed credible, and the first is subjected to punishment as conspiring witnesses. Therefore, as a disqualification of a conspiring witness is an anomaly, the right to disqualify him only from the time of this novelty and onward. This counterintuitive disqualification is not applied retroactively. There are those who say that Rava also holds like Abaye, who says that by rights a conspiring witness should be disqualified retroactively from when he provided his testimony. And what is the reason? Rava says that when disqualified only from that point forward. It's due to the potential monetary loss for purchase, whose acquisitions have been validated by these witnesses between the time of the witnesses' first testimony and when they were the conspiring witnesses. If the qualification of witnesses were applied retroactively, as by right it should, also those will be notified and cause a loss to these purchases. Gemara asks, what is the practical difference between these two explanations of Rava's opinion? Well, according to both explanations, Rava did not apply disqualification of witnesses retroactively, so they seem to be similar in that vein, that Rava didn't apply the disqualification of conspiring witnesses retroactively. The Gemara explains that there is a difference between them in a case where two witnesses testify about one. That's Hidu Be Terei Bachad. Those raise a difficulty, although in this case there are 4 witnesses against 2 witnesses. By Torah law, there is a difference between 2 witnesses and 100 witnesses. So the quantum doesn't matter. Therefore, why does the halacha rule that the testimony of the last witness is accepted? The Ramah answers that the first witnesses did not claim to have seen the incident together. Each one claimed to have seen it from a different location. Therefore, they did not support each other and contradict the testimony of the latter witnesses, who say that they were not there. Since each witness stands alone, 2 other witnesses can establish that he's lying. And the witnesses that he was not at the scene of the supposed event, and 2 other witnesses testify about the other witnesses in a similar manner. Alternatively, there's a practical difference between the 2 explanations in a case where 2 witnesses disqualified the first set of witnesses by testifying that the first one had once committed robbery. Defalihu Bagaz Nusa. Some explain that the second pair of witnesses testified that one of the first witnesses was disqualified at the time, and that the other witness disqualified from being a witness for having committed robbery. Therefore, in each element of the testimony, there were 2 against 1 to the run, and are therefore unfit to give testimony. If the reason Rava does not disqualify conspiring witnesses retroactively is that it is a novel ruling, it is limited to that case. But if it is to protect purchasers, they would apply to the disqualification of all witnesses, not only conspiring witnesses. And Rav Yirmiyah of Difti related, Rav Papi once performed an action and issued a practical ruling in accordance with the opinion of Rava. Ma Rabashi says, the halacha in accordance with the opinion of Abaye. The Gemara comments, and in the dispute between Abaye and Rava, the halacha in accordance with the opinion of Rava, except for 6 cases in which the halacha in accordance with the opinion of Abaye. They are, in the case represented by the Menomek Yod Ayin Lamed Kuf Gimel Mem, unknown despair Yush, conspiring witnesses Eidim, who disqualified retroactively, a side post Lehi, standing alone between the Kedushin, that is not given to consummation, revealing intent with a bill of divorce, a get, and an apostate Muma, who sins rebelliously. The Gemara cites another dispute between Abaye and Rabba with regard to disqualification of a witness. Concerning a transgressor who eats carcasses, i.e. non-kosher meat, due to appetite, i.e. because he desires this type of meat, or because it's less expensive or otherwise more accessible, everyone agrees that he is disqualified from being witness. It is suspected that just as he transgresses the halachot of the Torah to satisfy his appetite, so too he is willing to testify falsely for personal benefit. With regard to one who eats non-kosher meat to express insolence, Abaye says that he is disqualified by a witness, and Rabba says that he is fit. Abaye says he is disqualified because he is wicked. Posture de Haval de Rosha. A definition of a wicked individual who is disqualified from being witness is one who intentionally committed a transgression for which he is liable to receive lashes or most of its transgression. And the difference whether he committed transgression due to appetite or due to insolence. According to the opinion of Abaye, Rambam Sefer Shoftim, Hilchot Idut 73, Shulchan Aruch Mishpat 34:2, and Petei Teshuvah there. And the Metzmon states, to not put the wicked in a position to serve as a witness, and rather says that he is fit, because for one to be disqualified from being a witness, you require him to be a wicked person guilty of specifically a money transgression and dahamas, e.g. robbery. This is because the verse, do not put your hand with the wicked to be an unrighteous Hamas witness. Exodus 23:1 alludes to such a transgression. The Gemara is an objection to Rav's opinion from a biter. The verse, do not put your hand with the wicked to be an unrighteous Hamas witness, is interpreted in the following manner. Do not put the wicked in a position to serve as a witness. Do not put one who is guilty of a monetary transgression in a position to serve as a witness. These are robbers and those who betray oaths. Ma'alen b'shvus. In the cases of one who takes a false oath, whether an oath or an utterance, or an oath concerning monetary matter, and one who takes an oath in vain are disqualified by Torah law from bearing witness. 34:5. One is disqualified from bearing witness. The Gemara explains the objection. What doesn't the category of those who betray oath refer to both one who takes an oath in vain without any monetary application, and one who falsely takes an oath concerning a monetary matter? Apparently, any transgressor is disqualified even if he did so to express insolence and not for monetary gain. The Gemara answers, no. Both this and that oath are included in the phrase in the Brisa. Those who betray oaths are oaths concerning monetary matters. And accordingly, what is the reason the Brisa uses was oath in the plural? The Brisa is referring to oath in general, not to multiple categories of oath. The Gemara raises an objection to the Brisa's opinion from a Brisa. Do not put the wicked in a position to serve as a witness. Do not put one who is guilty of a monetary transgression in a position to serve as a witness. These are robbers and those who lend money with interest. The fact that only monetary transgressions are mentioned does not accord with the opinion of Abaye. The Gemara concludes the refutation of the opinion of Abaye is indeed a conclusive refutation. The Gemara suggests, let us say that this dispute is parallel to between the Tanaim. A conspiring witness is disqualified from bearing witness about any matter in the entire Torah. This is a statement of Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yossi says, in what situation the statement said, where he was rendered a conspiring witness with regard to a case of capital law, since he is assumed to have testified falsely with regard to a matter of life and death, he would certainly treat less serious testimonies lightly. Therefore, he is disqualified from bearing witness about any matter. But if he was rendered a conspiring witness with regard to a case of monetary law, he is fit to testify in cases of capital law, and in the case that he treats the matter lightly. The Gemara concludes its suggestion. Let us say that the opinion of Abai is according to the opinion of Rabbi Meir. Abai holds that one who commits a transgression that does not involve taking money from others is presumed to be willing to violate a more severe transgression that does not involve taking money from others. Since Rabbi Meir, the opinion with regard to giving testimony, Rabbi holds, similar to Rabbi Yossi, that it cannot be assumed that if one commits transgression that does not involve money, he would be willing to commit a more severe transgression that does involve money. And the opinion of Rabbi is in accordance to the opinion of Rabbi Yossi. The Gemara clarifies, the opinion of Abaye is in accordance to the opinion of Rabbi Meir, who says that we say that from being rendered a conspiring witness with regard to a minor issue, one is qualified by witness in regard to a major issue. And the opinion of Rabbi is in accordance to the opinion of Rabbi Yossi, who says that we say that from being rendered a conspiring witness with regard to a relatively major issue, one is qualified with regard to a relatively minor issue. But we do not say that from being rendered a conspiring witness with regard to a relatively minor issue, qualified even with regard to a relatively major issue. The Gemara rejects this suggestion. No. Everyone agrees that in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yossi, one who is rendered a conspiring witness with regard to a minor issue is not suspected of lying about a major issue. And Rabbi Meir disagree. It is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Meir. They disagree concerning what Rabbi Meir holds. Rabbi holds in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Meir, and derives from his opinion that one who eats non-kosher meat to express insolence is qualified from bearing witness, and Rabbi holds that only there with regard to a conspiring witness in a monetary case does Rabbi Meir state his ruling that one is rendered a conspiring witness about a minor issue is suspected of lying with regard to major issues as well. Rabbi Meir is of the opinion that he is both bad toward heaven, having against prohibition against bearing false witness, and bad toward people, having caused another to lose money unrightfully. He is therefore suspected of testifying falsely with regard to any matter. But here, with regard to one who eats non-kosher meat to express insolence, the person is bad toward heaven but is not proven to be bad toward people is not disqualified. The Gemara concludes that halacha is in accordance to the opinion of Abai. The Gemara asks, but wasn't his opinion conclusively refuted? The Gemara answers, that Brisa from which Abai's opinion was refuted is in accordance to the opinion of Rabbi Yossi, and Abai does not accept his opinion. The Gemara asks, and let it be that in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yossi, according to the principle of the halacha ruling is the dispute between Rabbi and Rabbi Yossi, the halacha is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yossi. How can this opinion be rejected? The Gemara answers, there it is different. As the Tana told an unattributed Mishnah in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Meir, and it is the general principle that halacha is in accordance with the rulings found in an unattributed Mishnah. The Gemara asks, where did the Tana teach us such an unattributed Mishnah? The Gemara answers that this was established through a certain incident, as that incident occurred in which a man named Bar Hama killed a person. The Steinslatz said to Rav Abba Bar Yaakov, go investigate this case, and if he certainly killed him, let them put his eyes out. L'chayuhu le'enei. Rashi understands this literally. Some of the Gaonim explain that the court should have dealt in an infinite amount of lashes. Rabbeinu Hananel, citing the Gaonim, offers another explanation that the court should fine him, thereby removing his strength and spirit. Rabbi Yehuda al-Madawi interpretation is that the court should have him executed immediately. Who gave the right to punish a murderer in this manner? Rashi cites Halacha in Sanhedrin 46a that the court has a right to flog and punish those who violate Torah law beyond the punishments specified in Torah, based on the verse, you shall put away the evil from your midst. Number 36 others explain the examples that the king to judge and punish, and the law of the kingdom is the law. Subsequently, it came to the fact that he certainly killed him. Bahama then went and brought out two other witnesses who testified about one of those first witnesses. One said he stole in my presence a cup of barley, and one said he stole in my presence the handle of a sphere. Baratia from the Latin "verutum," meaning dark job, no spear. The last few words for the end and the start of the neck on B. So that's up to the beginning of Amud B. Hope you have a nice day and take care. All the best. Bye.